Hey friends, my name is Rye Rivers, and you're listening to The Jay Francis Show.
Welcome to The Jay Francis Show, a behind-the-curtain look at the entertainment industry with insights you can't pay for and stories you've never heard. Now, here's your host, Jay Francis.
And we are coming at you live. I am Jay Francis, and this is your backstage pass to the music industry. Joining me tonight, folks, the Loretta's my Conway, my beautiful Miss Tiffany Mason.
You always give the sweetest introductions, Jay.
I try. I do my best. If you are new to the show, this is your source for the latest news, reviews, and interviews. So if you would like to join in, comment, or fire off any questions, please head over to jfranzi.com. And like we say, if you feel froggy and want to join our show, please head over to jfranzi.com/live, where you can join in, ask your question, make your comment, laugh at us, whatever you'd like to do. All right, my friend, before we get started, let's talk about this question of the day. Question of the day today, best or favorite indie band? Best or favorite indie band? So I want you to be thinking of that, and anybody else that would like to comment, please do so. All right, let's just jump in. I got a story I want to tell you tonight. We mentioned the CMA Awards last week, the lack of CMA Awards anyway, and we've talked about a few of these things in the past, but I just kind of want to bring up a memory that it sparked. There was a while back I was working a CMA Award show, and my job for that night was to drive Joe Don Rooney, the guitar player for Rascal Flatts. So I was to drive Joe Don Rooney and his wife from their house to the arena and then down the red carpet and so on, the things we would do for the award show. My first time ever working with him, because in Nashville, you had to be one of the more elite drivers. There was only two of us that were qualified to drive the celebrities, myself and this other guy named Jason. So we would drive them, and Rascal Flatts was his client. I had other clients, but this one was his. And he was unable to do the show that night. So he asked me if I would do it. I said, sure. So I ended up driving Joe Don Rooney and his wife. Well, we're driving on the way there, and he gets a phone call. It's in a Suburban, so he's literally right behind me on the passenger side, and his wife is directly behind me. And I can hear him on the phone, and he's on the phone with his producer, which is Dan Huff. Dan Huff is one of the most famous producers in the world.
I have heard that name before.
Yeah, he was the guitar player for the band Giant, and he went on to become, by far, probably the best producer in Nashville, but one of the best in the world. But he produced Rascal Flatts. And I could hear Joe Don on the phone, and he was saying, man, are you going to be at the award show to support us tonight? And he must have said no, because you can immediately see the reaction on his face, and he was visibly upset. Now,
no.
Again, my first time spending any time at all with him, but he was visibly upset. So he's like, come on, man, you were there last year. You went for Keith Urban. Can't you come support us? And whatever, he must have said, no, sorry, can't do it, whatever it was. But he gets off the phone, and he is now like red upset. He's very upset. And on the back of the headrest, we used to have iPads where people can click on it, and they could see their itinerary for the night and what restaurants they're going to, what the menu might be, and all that type of stuff. Well, when he clicked on the iPad, it came up with the wallpaper, which is a picture of him playing guitar. And he went off. He wasn't happy about it. So he says to me, he goes, Jay, this isn't your car, is it? And I said, no, sir. He goes, it's Jason's car, isn't it? And I said, yes, sir. Why is that? And he says, well, there's a picture of me playing guitar on this iPad. I said, oh? And he says, yeah, you wouldn't do that now, would you? Without thinking at all, I said, no, sir. If it was my car, I'd have Keith Urban on there. And, ooh, boy, was that a moment. He turned as red as a beet. He just turned red. And he sat there in dead silence, and I could see the smoke coming out of his ears and like a cartoon. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, his wife behind me starts laughing and laughing. And all of a sudden, Joe Don goes, "You're right. you're right. I'm taking this too far. And he was a good sport about it, but it could have gone really bad really quick. I mean, that's just one of the things you just don't do. But from that moment on, we became very friendly, and I would drive him quite a bit after that. And I would arrange some of his security and stuff for him. And we worked together quite a bit. And there was another moment. We were discussing the bands that we liked. So I'll tie this into our question of the day. We were discussing the bands that we like. And one band that we both liked growing up was Journey. So we were talking about that. And so what would happen is every time Joe Don would get in the car, he'd have his phone out and he'd be playing me songs that they're working on, playing me old Journey songs, just playing things. And one day he goes, Jay, you know, this weekend's my birthday. I said, yeah. He goes, I'm going to the Journey concert. I said, yeah. And he goes, can you do the security and get me the car for free? And I said, yeah, if you take me to the show. And we were just joking about it. And he goes, yeah, let's do that. So I said, all right. So I go, I call my boss and I'm like, hey, my client wants the car free. It's his birthday. And is that something we can do for him? And they said, yeah, that's no problem. So I said, okay. So the next day I call up Joe Don and I'm like, hey, just let you know, we get the car. He goes, no, you didn't. I said, yeah, I did. And he goes, hold on a second. And all of a sudden he puts his wife on the phone. She goes, you did not get him that car, did you? I said, yeah, I got him the car. And I could hear him in the background. I suppose he wants to go to the show now, right? And she goes,
damn straight.
And she goes, you know he can afford to pay for this car, right? I said, I know, but this way I get to go to the show. And so we laughed. And Nashville has this tunnel system. Like from a few blocks away, you drive through these tunnels to get down under the arena. And that happens so that the trucks can load in and out. You're not blocking the busy streets, and the fan base doesn't even know you're there. So if they're waiting outside for you to come out of the building, they'll never see you. So
oh my goodness.
We drove down there. I went and parked it was a Mercedes Sprinter. I parked up a Sprinter down there. We walked into the show. I escorted him around to where he was going. But he had a box seat, and we went up there, and his family was there, his mother, his father, and the family, friends, because it was his birthday, and they had a big birthday cake, all that stuff. So the box seat also has like 2 rows of seats that go down in front of the arena, so you can sit inside the arena if you wanted to. So I was sitting down there while he's up there, and every time his wife would need to go somewhere, I'd walk with her and just make sure she's okay. Well, he came up to me and he goes, Jay, I need to go somewhere. I said, all right. I get up to walk him. He goes, no. He goes, I'd rather you stay here and look after my family. I said, sure. So I stay there, and I'm looking after the family. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there comes Joe Don Rooney walking on the stage with a guitar to play the finale. It was Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin'. So he comes out and plays that song. And his wife is sitting next to me. She came and she sat next to me down on the rows of seats there. And she brought me a piece of birthday cake and just sat there so I wouldn't be alone. And I'm super nice woman. And we're sitting there and we're talking. And he's playing the song, and I said, man, he sounds really good, doesn't he? She goes, he better. He's been practicing it on YouTube for days now. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. So it was cool. You know, I drove him home that night. He was very, very nice about the whole thing and everything. But it was a good experience.
Yeah.
But the reason I mentioned it is because I saw in the news today that they are going back on the road again. So they're
Journey?
Not Journey. Journey's probably on the road again as well. But Rascal Flatts is on the road again.
Yeah, I actually did see that too.
Yeah, they've got some shows going on right now in Indiana and West Virginia, Michigan. But were you ever a Rascal Flatts fan?
Yes, very much so. I'm a big fan of country music to begin with. But then on top of that, I went to school with a guy that, I mean, if something ever happens to the lead singer, this kid could fill in. He sounds exactly like Rascal Flatts. Same kind of flair and yeah, like, yes. So every time Shane Lawson, shout out Shane Lawson, whenever he would sing, he just sounded exactly like them. So just an incredible voice, and never saw him in concert or anything, but I always think of Mayberry Street when I think of their songs. I don't know if that's the name of the song, but that's the one I really like. But they're all good.
Well, all of the guys in the band, Jay DeMarcus, the bass player that's in the band, he has a studio in his house. We had a guy on the show a while back named Carl Tatz. He's an award-winning studio designer, builds studios. He built Bob Bullock's studio, and he built my studio. But he also did the studio at Jay DeMarcus's house. So Bob and I went over there one day and did a recording session at Jay DeMarcus's house in the Carl Tat studio. And he was a very nice guy and everything. It was a good night. And then I've also worked with Gary at the Grand Ole Opry one night. I got to work with all three of them individually, never together, never in the same room.
I think it's kind of cool, though. Now, how do you get to be one of the top 2 elite people allowed to drive the A-list celebrities around? How do you get that credential?
A lot of kiss-ass stuff.
Yeah.
I was working for one limo company, transportation company, limo company, where we would do limousines, car service, tour buses, all of that type of stuff. And there was another one in town. Those two companies merged. So I was the head driver at the one company, and Jason was the head driver at the other company. And when we merged, we were the 2 head drivers for that one company. You could be just there for a long time and be very reliable and, a well-known person. But then there's also credentials you can get. So I have security credentials where I could escort people. I could be an armed escort if that's a necessity. First aid, just.
So you're like the bodyguard? You're like Kevin Costner?
Yeah, just like Kevin Costner. Just like I mean, when I look in the mirror, that's what I see.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, having the chauffeur's license, having the CPR training, having the firearms training, and all of the things that go along with this, that's something most chauffeurs do not go through. So
Right.
I did not get the credentials to drive the buses or the trailers because that just wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
But I did get all the credentials to do the black car service where I could do the more elite stuff. Because I liked, in addition to making the arrangements for all this stuff, I liked actually escorting people and spending time with them on the events and not just driving them and dropping them off somewhere.
Yeah. How fun is that? I think I would be a terrible black car service driver because I would fangirl out every time somebody got in the car. So my husband worked at Morton Steakhouse as the general manager. And so he would take care of a lot of celebrities. And so they would come in and then I'd be like, oh my gosh, what were they like? What were they like? But he can like keep his cool and not completely lose his composure.
Right.
Whereas me, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. They would ask to not have me be their driver the next time.
I know we've talked about that before. It's not the artists that I really ever, would fan out over. It was the producers and engineers because that was my lane.
Yeah.
So like the Bob Bullocks, the Dan Huffs, those type of people are the ones that I looked up to. Bob Claremountain, one of the best mixers in the world. The Lord Alge brothers, 2 brothers that are one of the top or 2 of the top mixers in the world.
That's cool.
But to close out Rascal Flatts here, they are on the road. They are living their life on the highway. But they're going to be in your world in April. Beginning of April, they'll be down in Florida.
Oh, that'd be a good time. Lots of times the big groups play at a place called Daly's Place, and it's actually like a protected outdoor amphitheater. But what happens is, the concerts start at like 7, and so everyone starts to show up around like 5, and then, or maybe 6, but the sun is setting and it shines right into the 2 sides and just scolds you until the concert starts. And it's brutal. So April would not be bad yet. So might have to look into that.
April 3rd at Estero, Florida. Hope I said that right, Estero.
I don't know. I've never heard of it before.
And April 4th, Orlando. April 5th, Jacksonville.
Stop.
There you go.
Does it say the venue?
Does not.
Huh. Okay. I'll have to look into it more.
It does not, but it says it's brought to you by Live Nation. And I have a Live Nation thing I just read about this week that we'll bring up on another show once I get more information about it. But it's very, very interesting. Ties into a lot of the stuff we've been talking about lately.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, something we did talk about lately was the music awards being canceled. They are now saying that more details have developed that it is due to Paramount and Skydance merger. So somebody within the merger said, you know what? Let's pause this and let's revamp it and optimize it and make it amazing and bring it back. But let's leave everybody hanging in the meantime. So they have merged and they have decided to put the music awards on hold. So That's the heads up on there. Well, the Watershed Music Festival is returning to the Gorge Amphitheater. I'm not familiar with it. The Pacific Northwest. So I believe it was up somewhere up there. The headliners are going to be Jason Aldean, Dierks Bentley, Bailey Zimmerman, and they're set to take the stage for 3 days of unforgettable performances and one of the most scenic venues in the country.
Nice.
So it must be kind of cool, like the Red Rock is what I have in my head.
Red Rock's an awesome venue.
I've never been. I got to get out more.
That's all right. Sometimes it's good just to be local.
Yeah. Well, someone who's not being local is Dierks Bentley. He just announced that he has his 2025 Broken Branches tour, and he's kicking it off in Austin, hitting more than 30 U.S. cities. So if you're a Dierks Bentley fan, look up the Broken Branches tour and find out when they are going to be when he is going to be in your neck of the woods. And you too can see Dierks Bentley perform.
Dierks Bentley. I used to play hockey with Dierks Bentley in Nashville. I played hockey my whole life, and apparently he did as well. And we both played in the men's league in Nashville.
Well, we actually went to a hockey game on Saturday. On Saturday. We went to the Iceman hockey game down here. Now, being from the Midwest, I grew up going to hockey games, and my husband, being from Minnesota, grew up going to hockey games, playing hockey. We had our kid in hockey, all the things. But yeah, it was nice to, just have a night going out, watching the guys on the ice. We only got one fight, though, and that was kind of disappointing. So I like a good drag out fight. I just remember that from being kids. We'd get peanuts, and then we would just fight. So we've seen some good ones, and they actually went against the Orlando Solar Bears.
There you go. Because when I think of Orlando, I think of Solar Bears.
Yep. So we won. The Jacksonville Icemen won.
There you go.
Well, on another note, Blake Shelton, he is actually going to serve as an executive producer on an upcoming country program that they are tentatively titling The Road. So this is kind of a weird thing. So I guess that they're going to have an artist with them, and each town that they stop on, they're quote unquote on the road. So each town that they stop at, you have to win over that crowd to quote unquote advance to the next town. So I thought that sounded interesting. Let's see here. It promises to give viewers a behind-the-scenes look at life as touring artists, and its competitors hop on the bus and learn to navigate all the complexities that come with life on the road. And then Taylor Sheridan is going to be one of the producers as well, and he was a producer of Yellowstone, and he says, "No more shiny floors and studio audience. This is where the rubber meets the road, literally. Get in the van, go to the next town, and win the crowd. Do it enough, you become the next leader. Simple as that." So I think that sounds really kind of cool.
Yeah, I would watch it. I'll watch it at least once.
Yeah,
see if it's good. I like the premise.
Yeah. I am very jealous of people who, like think outside the box. Like they're thinking like, okay, I could make another show like The Voice or America's Got Talent, right? But he's taking it completely out of the box and going, okay, so you want to be famous, you want to be the celebrity. Let's see if you can hang being on the road and the sleepless nights or going over curbs when you're in your bed.
Funny girl.
So I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't think that they had released airing date. So keep your eyes and ears open and see when it's coming out.
Speaking of thinking outside of the box, do you happen to see the special of Saturday Night Live? The SNL 50th year anniversary.
I am so sad that you are asking me because I have so many good memories of Saturday Night Live, and I was very sick last week, and my husband was in the process of catching what I had. So we were on the couch, and I was like, "Ooh, you want to watch the Saturday Night Live special?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Whoa, And so today, around 6:30, I was like, I should watch that Saturday Night Live special. But then another show that I've been watching was right there staring at me. But it's on my list. So tell me what happened. What I missed out on.
I didn't see it. No,
okay, good.
Here's two things from that. I didn't see it, so maybe we can watch it this week and talk about it next.
Okay.
However, you mentioned thinking outside the box, and I know that show, there was no other show like that at the time. No other sketch comedy type show. No improv style comedy show. So it just made me think of the show, but maybe that is something that we can go ahead and watch and then circle back and discuss next week.
I would enjoy that. I will challenge you though, because I used to watch a show at my grandparents' house called The McLaughlin Show, I think. Don't kill me if I'm wrong, guys. But it had, oh gosh, Rhoda, you know that girl, and then it had the lady with the black thing on, her a net on her hair, and she never wanted the old guy to sit next to her on the bench, and she'd like thwap him with her purse if he got close. And then the lady, oh god, I can see their faces, I can't think of their names, where she's on the phone, she's like, one ringy dingy, two ringy dingy. You don't remember this show?
I do not.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently you don't remember it that much either, though.
I just don't know the actresses' names, but Lily Tomlin. There we go, Lily Tomlin. Goldie Hawn was on it. It was like late 70s or 70s-ish, and they would dance to their hippie music, and then they'd freeze, and then they'd go into a skit. And then when that skit was done, they'd kind of laugh, or they'd open these little holes in the wall, and they'd be like, hey, Sarah, what? Did you know blah, blah, blah? It was like they would tell like a joke to each other. So it was kind of improv. So yeah, I'm interested. Kenny, George, do you guys remember this show? Because I loved it. I loved it out at my grandparents' house. I don't think that's where I fell in love with comedy, but I do love to laugh so much. Love to laugh.
Also, not only if you guys remember the show, but if you're willing to watch the Saturday Night Live special so we can discuss it with you guys next week as well.
Yeah, do it. Oh, George, yes. George remembers it. It was so good. I got a lot of memories flooding my brain right now of being in my grandparents' house in the living room. And I think like we were
on the plastic furniture.
Seriously. Oh my gosh. Seriously. Oh, they had this huge pillow. And you know, back in the day, they did like the, it's like yarn poke pillows or something. And then it makes like a design. And I remember my grandparents had this huge one, and Jenny and I, my sister and I, would fight over who was going to sit on that pillow while we watched McLaughlin. Oh my gosh. I feel like calling my whole family right now. Can I go? Is this show done?
George is the best. I'm just saying. He's willing to do homework so we can talk next week.
MVP.
Just saying, Kenny, come on, buddy.
Got to put the time in. Okay, Megan Maroney, she is partnering up with Lane Boots for her very own line, limited edition cowgirl boots. They are dubbed The Smoke Show. So if you try to go find them somewhere, you're looking for The Smoke Show. I always thought it was interesting. I actually forgot until right now. I used to sell shoes at JCPenney. And it was always so interesting.
All these memories going around your head.
It's all coming back to me. Guys, I had no energy last week, but this week I am here for this show, okay? I am here for you guys. Entertainment, watch out. It's coming at you.
I used to be a shoe salesman as well. Just throwing that out there.
You did?
One of my first
Wasn't
days.
it always so interesting to see the names of the shoes?
Yeah, no. I didn't have names for shoes.
The men's shoes don't have names?
I don't know. It was the black pair or the brown pair.
No. On the boxes, it would, you know, like how there's the female shoe, the Mary Jane. So like on the box, it would say Mary Jane. But then there would be other ones, and it's like, I need the Bellagio in size 7. Like they all have different names on them. So I don't know. I always thought that was so interesting. Anyway, okay. So they are matte white boots. They have intricate embroidery, scalloped edges. I am a sucker for scalloped edges. Okay. Love it. Okay. Very feminine. Anyway, and I think she's very feminine. She's like almost country pinup girl. She's got that, you know, very feminine vibe to her. Anywho.
Wait a minute. I like where you're going with this. Keep going.
It's got a functional zipper on the side and a heart-shaped heel pin and a blue boot bottom imprinted with Maroney's name. So very much like the famous red shoes. Now hers are going to have blue on the bottom, and I love it. I am here for it.
I like the famous red shoe. The soles that are red.
Oh, women everywhere are screaming at me right now.
Yeah. George is screaming at you right now.
Oh my gosh. I can't think of it. Jimmy Choo is what's coming to my head, and I know it's wrong. Anyways. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm not going to come up with it.
Jimmy Choo.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
Someone said that?
I'm looking at it right now.
No. They're not.
I am looking at Jimmy Choo's with red
You guys,
bottom.
we're going to have our first on-air fight.
I'm not saying it's the one we're thinking of, but I am looking at Jimmy Choo's red bottom shoes.
Christian Louboutins. There we go. That's what they are. Okay. Now that we have that settled, our brains can move on. Okay.
Well, you might want to give Jimmy a call because
He's copying.
He's got a whole line of, they're nothing but red bottoms. Every color. He's got pink shoes with red bottoms, yellow shoes, red bottoms, black shoes, red bottoms.
Well, you know what they say, copying is a form of flattery.
Do we know if who's copying who?
Oh, he's definitely copying Christian. Promise. Women, if you're listening,
Christian,
please back me
I
up.
see that here as well.
Yes. That's why I thought Louis Vuitton, but they're Louis Vuitton. Yeah.
Sure.
Christian Louboutin. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So, anyways.
Christian's got sneakers. Red bottom sneakers. Sorry,
That's
Johnny
interesting.
Cash.
Okay, so his former home in Memphis is up for sale. The Men in Black lived in the 1950s. The Man in Black. Oh my gosh, I read that wrong when I copied and pasted this too. Yes, the Man in Black, as we know him, lived in the 1950s ranch with his family, and the home has been fully refinished. Though, I mean, it feels like, well, duh. Then is it even the home he was in? It's got a new roof. It's got new finished floors. Like, what?
You got to maintain it.
I know, but it's not like
It's not the sink that he washed
should
his
be
dishes
restored.
in. It's not the stove that he cooked his dinner on.
right.
To be fair, he wasn't cooking his own dinner anyway, so
Yes, so it is going for the low price of $495 if you are in the market to buy a house in Memphis.
$495. That seems low.
Seems low. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's in Memphis. Like, who knows what the house is like? I'm sure
I
a
know.
house from that time period is probably just a small 2 or 3 bedroom ranch style house.
Yeah.
So in that case,
It is a
probably be
ranch style
high,
house.
But
Yeah. We need to see a floor plan. We need to know how many bedrooms, how many baths
get on
to
that.
justify this price. Okay, I thought this was so interesting. A little thing that I came across. Okay, so it is how young kids have been when they've gotten their first big break. So I just wrote down a couple. Billy Gilman, he was 11 years old. He debuted a single, One Voice. He was on the top 40 country hits when he was just 11 years old, and he was nominated for a Grammy the following year. The album that followed performed well, but his career stalled in subsequent projects. But he later appeared on The Voice in 2016, and he was the second place winner on a show called Sundance Head. I thought that was really, like, 11 years old. That's 1 year older than your daughter right now, Jay. Can you imagine her?
yeah, that's true.
Can you
I had to
imagine?
think about. I was thinking about the wrong daughter. I'm like, no, you're way off. But
No.
Yeah, there's another daughter in there too. Yeah.
There's 3 of them, people. Okay, so the
mercy.
next one.
Wait. I get one to throw in there.
Okay.
Josie Saul was on our show. She was on a little while back. 12 years old.
That's crazy.
Looks and sounds like a full-blown adult. I mean, if you just heard her record, you would never know it was a 12-year-old.
Oh, crazy. Well, someone else that's on the list that makes me think of that is Leanne Rimes
Oh, yeah.
with the song Blue, and she was only 13.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't realize she was that young when that was out.
Yep. And then they list Taylor
I was
Swift.
just going to say Taylor Swift.
Yeah, they list her at 14 years old, but her big hit, that's what they're talking about, is like when these kids had their big hits. And it was with the song Tim McGraw when she was 16.
Okay.
Yep. And then I don't know this song, but old people like you probably know Marie
Here we go
Osmond.
again.
Don't fire me. Don't fire me. She was 14 when she released Paper Roses. And then another one that I saw that,
Can
Oh.
I just throw out there
yeah,
the first album or 8-track or something? It's the first one I ever owned was Donnie Marie.
yes.
You say yes like that, like yeah, everybody owned that one. Nobody, especially where I grew up, listened to Donnie and Marie.
I was going to ask you, what did you buy it for? What song?
I'm sure it was a gift from my mother or something, but I had it and I wore it out.
Oh, like the tunes coming off that vinyl.
There you go.
Well, the other one is Tanya Tucker, 13 years old, when she sang Delta Dawn. Delta Dawn.
Tanya Tucker is another one, big in Nashville, especially at her time. And a lot of my friends have had the opportunity to work with her or for her. And they all have stories, every one of them. Matter of fact, I'm fairly certain they've all been on the show once before. So we'll have to get them back maybe together as a group for nothing but Tanya Tucker stories.
I like it. Well, not on here, but I did go thrifting over the weekend I guess during the week, and I picked up the Carpenters record, and God, she had such a beautiful, beautiful voice, and they weren't very old either. They did list some other artists, but they were like 19, 20, and I thought, you're almost an adult by that point. I guess you are technically an adult at that point, but these guys seemed a little bit more noteworthy, so I thought that was interesting.
Very good. No, I'm with you. So you want to move on to the question of the day?
Yeah.
Best or favorite indie artist? All right, George, Kenny, I'm going to need your input here. Anybody else that would like to chime in, we would love to hear it. So best or favorite indie artists, I'm going to start with maybe a couple of my own.
Okay.
And then maybe you can add some input of your own, and then we'll go to the list here, give people a chance to chime in.
Okay.
Some of my favorites, the band Fortune, they still play to this day, but I went to high school with them. These are kids that I went to high school with, and they were just absolutely amazing in high school. They were a rock band. They played, when I was in high school, they started playing covers. They would play, any of the hair metal stuff or all that type of stuff. But they grew up to be more of the classic rock sounding band. They play a lot with the band Boston. When the band Boston kind of dismantled, a lot of those guys are now in the band Fortune. So they are a very, very good band. I always liked them. One of them sadly passed away a few years back, which very sad. However, another band was Sly Boys, very similar. They worked together with Fortune a lot. And they were a very hair metal style band, and they got to, they took off like nobody's business. The thing I remember about them most is they didn't play any shows or let anybody even know they existed until they were ready. I mean, they got together, they practiced, they rehearsed, and when they were like at their peak, that's when they let everybody know they existed. So they took off like nobody's business. Big lesson learned there for me was, some people say that's a little much to work that hard and try to be a perfectionist, but they did it, and it paid off big time for them. And they ended up traveling around the world. I remember they went to Japan, and while they were in Japan playing, that's when grunge happened, and that's when they kind of came to a halt there. Mm-hmm. And then the last one I'll bring up for right now is good friends of mine from Albany, New York, the band Sirsy. When I first saw them, they were a 5-piece band like any other rock band. But through the years of playing, they were replacing band members so frequently that they'd finally decided, you know what, let's just do this on our own. And the two key members, which is Melanie Kramer and Rich Labuti. Rich played bass, Melanie was the singer. Well, Rich's harebrained idea one day was, well, let's just do it, the two of us. He goes, you're going to play drums, and I'll play guitar. And she's like, how are we going to do this? But they did it. So they formed a duo, and she plays drums, sings, plays bass with a trigger pad, and plays the flute.
Oh, wow.
All as she's playing throughout the song. And
what is a trigger pad?
It is a rubber pad, almost like a practice drum kit, and has like 4 different pads on it. So she can program the 4 to 8 pads, whatever size she has, to be a different bass note. So as she's playing the drums, she can swing over and hit the note on the bass and keep going back and forth. And Rich, being a bass player, learned how to play guitar. And then He plays the bass guitar as well, depending on what song they're playing. But he has bass pedals at his feet, like on an organ where they would have bass pedals. So when he's playing guitar, he can play the bass notes with his feet.
Okay. Now, I know that you gave me the details, and they're going to be in Florida, you guys. They actually have some really great locations that they're going to be at. So if you are in Florida, look them up. It's Sirsy. But when you are explaining to me what they look like, I'm envisioning back in the day, where somebody would have the big drum in front of them, and then they'd have like strings on their feet that would pull other instruments and like the clappers on the fingers.
I didn't even know what to expect. I remember when Rich first came to me and he said, "Oh, you got to come out and see us play tonight." And I said, "Oh, yeah?" I said, "You guys got a new drummer?" And he goes, No, we're just doing it ourselves." I said, "What do you mean? You playing an acoustic gig?" And he's like, "No, full sound." He goes, "If you close your eyes, you'd think full band's on stage."
Oh my gosh.
I was like, okay. So I went, and they are awesome. I mean,
I'm really excited
awesome.
for her voice. I am so excited.
Several albums out. I mean, she is a singer like nobody's business. Talented band. They write amazing songs. They're pop rock songs, but they are very, very good. If you ever have the opportunity to see the band Sirsy, please check them out.
I had to reach out to her one is a house concert. And so I had to reach out to her to get details for the concert. And she couldn't be any nicer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she was, super nice. So I'm excited to meet her.
Yeah, no, they're very good. And since then, they went on and got married. So life on the road together is okay.
I'll say. Good for them doing what they love with the person that they love.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it for a long time. They've been together playing since I had my studio in New York. I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, I left New York. I left New York and went to Nashville, and I worked there for 20-something years. So they've been together for over 20-something years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And they are
Music brought them
always
together.
on the road. Always on the road. Never stop playing. So,
got to pay the bills.
All right, let's hear some of your favorites.
Okay, well, one that I don't know if you remember ever hearing was the Ting Tings.
No.
Okay. They say a lot of words. They're not rapping, but they say a lot. There's a lot of words to their lyrics. They come at you fast. And I don't even know how I would explain them. I guess pop-ish, pop rock-ish. I don't know. With a twist of folk, but I don't know. They just say, they call me her. They call me Stacy. Do you know the song? That's not my name.
I know that song. Yes.
That's not my name. Okay. Anyways, so I love them.
Is that the band?
Ting Tings.
Is that Ting Ting?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the Ting
So I
Tings.
do know the song.
Okay. Now, speaking of people who, like Fortune, you said, played in high school, we had a group that played in our high school that were mimicking themselves off of Sublime, Green Day, and Bush. So when you say that, I'm sorry, the group that you said went to Japan, and then when they came back, grunge had kind of taken over.
Sly Boys.
Yes. Cue my generation with grunge. And so I remember a lot of getting out of school, like you're driving home, all the windows are down, these songs are on. So they were feel good, and they were all over MTV. I mean, it was still very much popular in the 90s, and just catching the videos of the songs. And then another one was Smashing Pumpkins. So I love Fleetwood Mac, Landslide, and then Smashing Pumpkins covered it. And so I just fell in love with their version of it. So
I've never been a big Smashing Pumpkins fan, but I don't know. This has been in the news a lot lately that Billy Corgan and Bill Burr, the comedian Bill Burr from Boston, Billy Corgan, I think they're from Chicago-ish area. And apparently they are brothers. So their father used to be on the road. What he did, we don't actually know, but he was on the road, had two families, and named his two kids Billy.
He'd never get them mixed up then.
No. So they went on Howie Mandel's show, and Howie Mandel thought it would be fun to bring out Billy Corgan during his Bill Burr interview. And it did not go well. It did not go well at all. So if you want some, I wouldn't even say
as
entertaining
in they don't like
moments.
each other.
If you want some uncomfortable moments, pull that up on YouTube and watch the clips from Howie Mandel does stuff. And it's uncomfortable. It's very, very uncomfortable. At one point, Howie Mandel goes, "I'll leave you two alone to talk through things." And he got up and he walked out of the room and left those two to talk. And they sat there not knowing what was going on. It was uncomfortable. So,
whoa. No, thank you. Yikes. Well, I might have to look it up, though. I mean, can't help yourself.
George says Bright Eyes. I've never heard of them, but I will check them out for sure. Suzanne, Susie, something. I'm going to call you Susie because that's what I called my grandmother. Her favorite or her suggestion is one of my daughter's favorite bands, and that is the Arctic Monkeys.
Oh, I saw them on the list a whole bunch. I didn't get a chance to check out if I knew any of their songs.
Yeah, the Arctic Monkeys, I know their songs only through my daughter. I probably would have never even heard of them if it wasn't for her. But we went to see them. I took her and a friend of hers to Nashville to see them at an outdoor amphitheater, and it was pretty good. It was a pretty good show. They did a good job. Still not one of my favorites, but it was fun. It was a good time, and to be with my daughter and her friend and see them having a good time like that was really, really fun.
That's awesome.
John says The Strokes.
Yeah, I looked them up. One that was on there a lot was Death Cab for Cuties. And I actually interviewed somebody about their Soul Becomes Body, Soul Becomes Body, I think, in December 2020. So it was during my first season, episode 22 with Sean O'Laughlin. He has a podcast as well, but we ended up connecting over that song. And he said his memories associated with it was he had been panicking to get these diapers, and he was like all up in arms. I think it was diapers. It could have been formula, but I think it was diapers.
He wears diapers?
No, it's for a child, Jay.
Oh. Sorry.
And that song came on, and somehow it just like soothed him, and he felt like everything was right with the world again. So if you want to check that out, it's in Memories of the Beat, episode 22, season 1.
All right. I'm going to take time back to Orlando now for the moment.
Yay.
When I lived in Orlando, it was a very, very big independent rock scene at the time. And we all know Von Ray. We've talked about them. They were the first guest on this show. And a great band, one of my favorites. But before they were Von Ray, they were Von Ray. It was just spelt a little differently. But they were an independent band. And as an independent band, they were selling out the Hard Rock Arena there. And I mean, I just remember they had lines around the block. But I remember also seeing them when I was the only person in the bar. So as we joke about me talking with
I was going to say
Mom
selling
Ray,
merch with their mom.
Yeah. So selling it, just looking at it. But yeah, so I mean, they were definitely one of my favorites. Matchbox 20 was also one of my favorites when they were Tabitha's Secret, was their original band. And I actually have a cassette recording, a little demo that they had out, which has the song 3 a.m. on it as Tabitha's Secret. So it's a whole different feel. I mean, completely different feel of a song. But they were great. And then another band I really liked from Orlando at that time was this guy called Average Joe. And Average Joe, I don't think he ever became anything major. But I do remember, because at the time, there was no social media. If there was social media, this guy would have killed it. Because he, being in Orlando, a very transient tourist town, and he would just play all these resorts and just build a following like nobody's business. But I think he won Best Songwriter of the Year a couple of times, Best Solo Artist of the Year. But he played folk-style songs, and, I mean, he wrote them. He was very, very good, and I heard him on the radio, not his song being played, I heard him being interviewed, and I went and checked him out, and he was just awesome. I just went back and saw them several weeks in a row, just became really good friends with him and a couple of the other band members, and I really enjoyed them, but he fell off the face of the earth. So he changed his name to Cleo Black and fell off the face of the earth. But I really did enjoy his music at that time. and he is cousins with Keanu Reeves.
Oh,
I found that
Small
out
world.
later in life, and he was also in the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So if you ever watch that movie, when they're in a resort, he was the guy playing the music in the resort. So he was the musician in the background.
how cool.
So yeah, no, he was a great artist. I miss him. So
Yeah. Oh.
have to check him out again someday.
Well, one that was not on the list, but I had on my show, and I thought that they were very talented. They went on to do a Kickstarter, do a whole album. They did some crazy tour. The Bearded Laramie, and they're kind of a folk rock music. It kind of has, some music is like Bare Naked Ladies, where there's not a big story being told, but it just kind of rolls off your tongue fun. And some of their songs are like that, where they kind of just roll off your tongue easy and they're just kind of fun to sing along to. And so I enjoy their music as well. They're current, they're now. And then, Jay, are you ready for it?
I'm ready, girl. Tell me. Bring it on.
What finally made the list? I have been trying to shout out REM every episode, every freaking episode.
Okay.
And they
I don't know
are
why, but
They're on the list.
they're on your list.
Do you remember when we brought up Phil Collins?
Were you going
and
to
then I
call
said-
REM an indie band?
I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe they started that way.
They definitely started that way. I'll give you
It
that.
started that way. Yeah. They got credit for it. So I was like, oh, I have to put it on the list because Jay, every time we have a Phil Collins song, I'm always like, yes, Losing My Religion. And I'm like, that's REM. So I felt like it finally had a moment to shine on the Jay Francie show.
Nice. Another band that I really liked, and I like probably the name better than the band, although the band was very good. Make Lisa Rich. I just thought that was like the best name for a band.
Yeah.
They were also out of Boston. People I worked with in the recording studio went on to start a band, and that's what it was called.
It's awesome.
All right, let's see here. Joshua says the Backseat Lovers.
Ooh, scandalous.
The Backseat Lovers. Now, they are not a group of people that you'd picture in the backseat, for sure.
No.
No. Oh. Let's see here. The War on Drugs.
Oh.
Brian says the War on Drugs. George says I looked up the band the Ting Tings.
They're good.
I don't know why, George. I don't know why you would look that up.
They're good. Their one-hit wonder album was good. I had it on a playlist, okay? I probably made a mix CD is what I probably did.
When I think of an indie band, I think of bands that like never made it. Like they were true indie bands.
Yeah.
A lot of these bands people are talking about are, like you say, REM. Yeah, they were an indie band at one point,
Yeah.
but they made it. They had a record deal.
Yeah. I even Googled. I was like, what makes you an indie artist? Because I thought that I had the correct understanding until I saw all these bands on the list. Then I was like, maybe I don't have the right, parameters to be saying. But no, I was on the right track. It's just these people actually made it to the radio.
When I think of an indie band, what I think of is a band who does not have financial support behind them and they're doing it on their own.
Yeah, I also thought of Brett Baldridge. He's doing that right now.
So even though they're on the radio, they can still be an indie band. Even that band Sirsy, they had a record deal at one point and left it. It just wasn't for them. They were able to do everything that they were doing on their own. So
Yeah.
it's like, why do they need that?
Yeah.
The anxiety. And Jill says the anxiety. The Rex. Steve, the Rex.
I don't know.
Steve. You don't know Steve or you don't know the Rex?
I don't know either. Steve, we got to get to know you.
All right, one more that I'm going to throw out here just because it's my favorite restaurant, so I'm going to have to look it up to see what band it is. But it's Twin Peaks.
Oh.
Now, do you have a
For the
Twin
food,
Peaks
right,
near
Jay?
you? I actually like it for the food. Now, I'm not saying I don't like the atmosphere as well, because I do.
Yes. Yes.
But Twin Peaks is new to my area. About 4 years old at this point. But when I first moved here and moved to this house, I came here about a month or two. I usually move a month or two ahead of the family, so that way I can get the house, I can set it up. Like this house, I redid the floors before they moved in, that type of stuff.
Yep.
And then they take care of the moving truck and get everybody to the new house.
This is very similar to how our family functions.
Yeah, and when families that move a lot have to have a plan. So that was our plan. So when I was here, I was going to go grab some dinner, and I was heading to Hooters. This is making me look very bad tonight. But I was heading to Hooters. And
yes, tell me more.
There's nothing wrong with Hooters,
pig.
and their wings are fantastic. No, they're not really that good anymore. But I was on my way to Hooters, and I saw Twin Peaks right across the street. So I was like, oh, wow, awesome. So I went down there, and there was a guy at the door with a clipboard, like it was like some sort of nightclub or something. And I walk up, and...
Did you pay the cover?
Well, that's what it was like. I'm like, huh, what kind of Twin Peaks we got at this place? So I walk up to it, and apparently it was opening night. So it was invitation only.
Yeah.
So I went there on opening night, invitation only, and he goes, do you have an invitation? And I was like, no, sir. And he's like, well, tonight's our opening night. We're doing a soft launch night. A soft launch. Doing a soft launch at Twin Peaks, sorry.
Oh, I picked up on it.
The words, they come out, I know. Sometimes they're just not even worth mentioning.
Yeah.
So anyways, they're doing their soft launch at Twin Peaks, and I was like, okay. And I turned around to start walking away, and he goes, well, wait a minute. He goes, how many are there? I said, just myself. He goes, come here. I'll let you in and get your table if you don't mind my wait staff practicing on you tonight.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm okay with that. So I went in, and they brought me a limited menu. So they sat me down, limited menu, and they brought out some food. And they were very friendly people, nice people, not just the waitresses, but everybody else that was part of their establishment was very, very nice. So I had a very good time. And then when it came time to leave, they said, bye. No check, no nothing. Because, it was all free for letting them practice on me, an invitation, all that stuff. I was like, this is the best place ever. So I told my wife, I said, when you come to town, and they did. They came to town, and we had a Twin Peaks in Nashville, but I didn't like it. It wasn't good. So anyways, Twin Peaks should be our sponsor. They're not our sponsor yet.
Yeah.
But, hey, come on.
Yeah. We're plugging you guys.
We don't need money. We just need wings. Anyway, so when my wife, well, yeah, I know, right? When my family did come to town, we went to Twin Peaks, and my wife, she loved it, and she loved the chicken. We went back every week, 2-3 times a week.
Wow!
I was like, this is fantastic. Thanks, wife. And my kids liked it and everything, but we haven't gone back in probably a year or so at this point. But
well, you probably burnt yourself out.
We probably did. But it was fun. It was good. Now we're on to Texas Roadhouse again.
Yeah, good for you guys. So. You got to go early when they have the senior menu. 4:00.
I already have my AARP card, so I've had that for quite a while. I've had it for 6 years now. Can you believe that? 6 years I've had the ARP. I've had the ARP card. I didn't think you could get it that young, but hey.
You lucky bastard.
Yeah, lucky.
Well, it may seem a little boring, but I thought I would do everybody a solid. So first of all, last week I was sick. And then our daughter left for DC. And I was like, sweet, we're going to have this awesome week together. So first of all, I was so sick, I couldn't even plan for us to go to CRS, which was such a bummer. And I'm glad we didn't go. I'm still not 100%. So I don't know if I would have had it, if it would have been the experience that I want it to be. And I cannot imagine getting on an airplane with all of the sinus everywhere, Yes. So we go out. Sunday is when she left that morning. Sunday day was pretty good. Monday was pretty fun. And then he had Monday off. Okay. And then Tuesday, just Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. He was going in, just crashed. He tried to go to work. They sent him home. and he literally sat on the couch all day. And I can't remember the last time I ever saw him do that. You know, they always joke that men get like the man flu. My husband does not. He does not. You don't even know he's sick. And this man was on the couch for a whole day. I really can't remember the last time I've ever seen him do that. So whatever's going around right now is for real. So I thought I would throw out some little weird tips and tricks, okay? Because it's kind of 'tis the season, right?
Wait a second. Before you go there, let me just tag on to that for a second.
Yeah.
My wife.
Tap out.
Tap out. My wife is probably coming down with it as we speak. She hasn't felt good all day long. She's been coughing, sneezing, all the fun stuff. But she never gets sick. Never acts sick when she does get sick. She's just not a big person.
Moms can't.
Yeah.
Moms can't.
And even today she was sick, but still took care of the kids. I drove them around, but she took care of feeding everybody.
Yep.
When I get sick, I don't typically show signs of being sick. So like I'll be sick and I'll be sneezing and coughing, but I still go to work. I still do all the things I'm supposed to be doing and never typically complain about it. So when I get really sick to the point where I am strapped to the bed or complaining, it's bad. So then my wife, that's all they see. So then they're like, well, when you get sick, you just act like a big baby. Now my kids are saying it. You just act like a big baby. It's like, you don't see all the times I'm sick and I just go on with life. But they make fun of me pretty heavily right now. So even my daughters are getting in on it. Oh, yeah, you're a big baby when you get sick. It's like, thanks.
What?
Thanks.
Oh, man.
My family loves me. It's great.
No, I'm always so impressed how he fights through. I am kind of a baby about it. I mean, I push through and like try to still be the mom and, you know, still do the laundry. And when I was so sick, Hannah was getting ready for her DC trip. And I was like, I got to do the laundry. I told her I'd have it done. I got to do the laundry. But I was not in any shape to be bending over. So I think this is interesting. When your sinuses are all full and you bend over and your forehead hurts, it's called a banker's headache.
My wife must be a banker. She doesn't like to bend over either. I'm pushing my luck with these jokes. But they're just right there.
I know. Low hanging fruit. Okay, so I Googled at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, and I was
Something
like,
you should never do.
No, but I was trying to find any kind of like natural remedy. I was coughing so much. And so honey, which we all know.
Local honey.
Local honey, yes. It helps with allergies if you take local honey, but also it has anti-inflammatory properties, which I didn't know that. So like, you know, you're coughing and everything. And I took that spoonful of honey, which I like honey in stuff, but I don't like a spoonful of honey. But I did it. And sure enough, I mean, for like 2 hours, I was able to fall asleep, stay asleep until, of course, the coughing came back.
Right.
But it was nice. Okay, now the next one I know you and I talked about, but it was gargling warm salt water. So when you do this, it helps to reduce inflammation in your throat, which is often caused like a scratchy, sore feeling that you get when you're coughing. Okay, but consider, let's see here. It is a home remedy that can provide temporary relief from cough by thinning the mucus, totally gross, and it kills some of the bacteria in your throat. So you're getting rid of some of the illness and you're helping yourself to flush your system. And then I really loved this. So I wouldn't say I'm crunchy granola, but I definitely believe that a pill is not always the answer to like whatever our sickness or whatever is. Although I do love me a pill that takes pain away. Love that. Okay. So it says like in Germany, if you're sick, the doctor says, go for a walk in the forest. And then it was like in Spain, if you're sick, the doctor says, go out and get 20 minutes of vitamin D. And it was like, we need to start like normalizing some of this nature remedy, you know, for our illnesses and stuff. And so on Valentine's Day on Friday, the first day that I was kind of okay, but that night when my daughter said, hey, let's go to Sunrise, I was like, oh, dear Lord. So I'm like, okay, take one for the team, Tiffany. She's leaving for DC. It was Valentine's Day. She wanted to go with her boyfriend, so I picked him up. Okay, and I thought, this might actually be good for me. I'll tell you what, I felt so freaking good the rest of Friday. Now, Saturday, I took a step back. But Friday, I felt pretty dang good. So I think there's something to be said that nature, we don't give it enough credit, but it really is a great remedy. So tell your wife to get outside. I mean, come on, wife.
She doesn't like to go outside. For real, she doesn't like to go outside. I ask her to take walks and stuff all the time. She's like, no. Granted, right now it's like 12 degrees, but
Yeah, that was kind of part of my joke.
George wants
Okay.
to know if there's one salt better than another. We've become a medical show. This is not medical
Yes.
advice.
Yes. No, we are not doctors. If you are sick, you have to go see a physician for medical advice.
With that
But
said, what's the best salt you can have?
I think it's the Himalayan pink salt, or I did see that there's like this insurgence of this Celtic sea salt. So I would say both of those because they have minerals in them.
Have you ever seen a salt farm?
No.
I did. When I was in California, I drove through a few salt farms. You can get out and walk on them. I mean, it looks like snow. It's just a salt farm.
Oh, how interesting.
I mean, it's like water, and it's just a salt farm. I mean, I don't know how to explain it.
So I had a friend who went to Vegas a couple years ago, and they were in the most beautiful water, and the water was on top of salt. And it looked like they were in Alaska,
Yeah.
because the blue against the white, and it was just amazingly, stunningly beautiful. Okay. Well, the last tip I'm going to give you, which I am sipping right now, is hot water with lemon. So these are the benefits of all those. Hot water helps to hydrate you, especially during the winter months. The vitamin C from the lemon is good antioxidant that supports immune function and skin health, digestion. So it was also saying when I looked this up that you can just of course we can drink lemon water anytime we want, but this would be another reason why you'd want to be having lemon water whenever you want. Okay, so the lemon juice stimulates the saliva production, and that aids in digestion. Detoxification. The hot water with lemon helps to flush out toxins from the body. I think that is the most interesting thing. If you go have like a massage or if you do acupuncture, they always say a ton of water because it will flush through your urine. And I'm always like, our body never fails to completely blow my mind. Like, I grew 3 whole humans and now they live and walk on the earth all by themselves, and their body knows how to make them bigger. And it's absolutely mind blowing. So I think that that's crazy that you have all this crap in you and then literally comes out as crap.
Nice. Okay, you took the left. Have you ever done acupuncture?
Yes. And I loved it.
Really? Why? Why did you love it? Describe
Well,
the feeling to me, or what the benefit of it was.
Okay, well, I've had a couple of extreme bouts of anxiety, and I didn't know how to get rid of the anxiety. I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. We were on a camping trip, and I was like, when I get back, I'm going to an acupuncturist. So I go, and they stick needles everywhere. I personally didn't feel any of them except for sometimes in my thumb. She would stick one in my thumb, and if you use that muscle, you can feel it moving or under your skin or whatever. First of all, I liked it because it was like a therapy session. So you went in there, and I loved the acupuncturist's energy, and she was just awesome and amazing. And so we would chat, and she would say, let me see your tongue. There's something to be said about how your tongue looks. And she could look at your tongue and go, okay.
My wife doesn't like my tongue.
No? Are you not using it correctly, Jay?
It's a low-hanging fruit, my friend. I'm sure I am not. However,
I don't know. She would always ask to look at my tongue. And then she would go through, and I have a chiropractor that does the same thing. They can touch points and it'll be tender, and then she'll know what to stick. And then afterwards she'll touch it again and it's not tender anymore. So I don't know. And she didn't always stick in the same spots.
that's what I tell my wife.
I like to be stuck in the same spot. So
All right, well, what time is it?
we're after hour, Jay. The kids are in bed. So, yeah, and she always stuck different areas, and I always felt better, and my anxiety did go away.
I used to have this amazing chiropractor in Nashville. I mean, he was a quack. Still is a quack. I go to him whenever I go back to Nashville. But he was amazing. Like, I would tell him just, hey, I got a pain over in my shoulder, and he'll crack a toe and the pain goes away.
Yes.
But he was a quack for sure. But man, he was in the best of ways. He was a quack in the best of ways. And my daughter, her back hurt, and I took her to Nashville just for that, and she felt better.
Well, you know what's interesting about chiropractor is I have 2 children. I have 3 total, but 2 of them had a bedwetting issue.
I still do.
Too old. Well, your chiropractor should fix that for you. So that's what I did. I took him to a chiropractor, and my son, but he got adjusted one time and he was good for a month. He got adjusted a second time. He was good for 3 months. He got adjusted a third time and he never had to see the chiropractor again. Now, my daughter had to get adjusted for about 6 months, I think. And then it stopped. And so they were saying, like, you can have a kink or whatever, wherever, and the, bladder can't talk to the brain or whatever. And so it's like I was saying, like, we need to give credit to more things than just a pill.
Yeah, this guy was awesome. I mean, he was really, really good at all of that stuff. But what I liked, I've been to several chiropractors, and some of them are a little bit more aggressive than others.
Yeah.
But what I liked about this guy was he would just say, you should be good. Come back if you need it. He would never try to set up another appointment, never try to tell me I need to be there every week or every week for 6 years or whatever it was. But I would go back to him every time because of his honesty and all of that stuff. And he was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What else you got for us?
Well, I just have 2 more benefits to this lemon water. Okay. We're just going to beat a dead horse. I hope you guys are ready for it. Okay. So, anti-inflammatory properties, which can help reduce joint pain and swelling, and then iron absorption. I need this, so I should be drinking lemon water all the time. I'm actually on like some iron supplement. You get to a certain age and you got to, have special pills. Anyways, so the lemon can improve iron absorption from foods. Wash your hands. Oh, and then being sick, wash your hands. So I thought it was the craziest thing during COVID. Isn't that crazy? You can lick your hands after you wash them, Jay.
Oh, I thought that's how you wash them.
No, I just thought that was the craziest thing during COVID. Like, wash your hands, wash your hands. Are we not washing our hands? No, we're not doing that. Okay.
It surprises me how many men go to the restroom and don't wash their hands.
Ugh. And then you have to touch your winky for that, don't you?
Yeah. What I don't understand is why you're not washing your hands before you go to the bathroom. That's when you're touching everything. Just throwing that out there. We might want to reconsider how we do things.
I mean, usually chicks aren't touching stuff. We got a barrier, the toilet paper.
Sure. We have somehow taken a really hard lift.
I mean, that was my whole thing. I wanted to talk about being sick.
I want to talk about
and I thought that was riveting.
Toilet paper.
Yes. So needless to say, I thought we were going to have this awesome week. And now I recovered and then he got sick. So, Hannah's home in 2 days and par for the course, right?
It's that time of year. I mean, my family is sick too, but nothing like all of that.
Ugh. I can't remember the last time we got hit this hard.
I'm sure we will in the next week or two. I hate February these days because this part of the country, the allergies start in February.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I prefer the warmer weather, I would rather be, Boston cold all year round just so I don't have to have allergies.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. I mean, I will never forget when we lived in upstate for a very short amount of time. And the first time that, the trees had all the pollen everywhere and it was like on our cars. And I was like, what is this yellow dust? Like, I could not figure it out. I'm like, what is happening right now? Because it doesn't do that in the Midwest. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have all those trees too in the Midwest. There's a plenty of trees, but for whatever reason.
Different style of trees. In California, it was the almond trees.
Oh.
So you drive down the road and it looked like it would be snowing because it'd be white. And
crazy.
I live next to an almond farm and I had the slingshot, so I used to, race through the back roads, which is all almond farms, which apparently I'm allergic to.
Oh, good times.
That's all right. Caden, buddy, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. We are his favorite show. I appreciate that. George says, mine too. I'll take it. I will take it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Me too. Other than that, I am going to check out Sirsy this week, and I'm going to go check out Robbie and Felix. I was telling you about them. So that's my big thing. If you're in the Jacksonville area and you're listening, it's women making memories to a beat, and we'll be there from 6 to 8 o'clock having a drink.
And if somebody wants to come by and say hello to you?
No, stay away.
Stay away.
Yes.
If somebody wants to come out and say hello to you, how should they go about it?
They should bring their most fun attitude and excitement for seeing Robbie and Felix come to Palm Valley Outdoors and get ready to have some fun. And if it is too cold, which yes, we have been cold in the 50s at night, which I know it's all relative, people, but we'll be inside. So fear not, we'll still have a good time. What about you, Jay? What's your big exciting plans?
Well, I don't know about plans. This week I talked to a guy named Blake Tyler. We mentioned him last week, but his episode released today. So if you're interested in learning more about Blake Tyler, an aggressive country singer, really, really good. His episode did release today. And then I spoke with Rye Rivers, a fairly young singer out of Florida. And he's conquering Nashville. He's doing it. He already had success as a soul artist.
Okay.
But his true passion has been country music. He's already got a really good team behind him. That's how I met him. His publicist reached out to me, and I know he's with a good team of people.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming up next week.
Awesome. Can't wait to check it out.
All right. IP6 will be playing at the Vault. The Vault in Cincinnati. So if anybody would like to come out and say hello, they will be there. I will be there. Garrett Landers, guitar player, good friend. He will be playing, and I'm sure he will be happy to say hello to anybody that would like to stop by and say hello as well.
Awesome.
All right, my friend. Well, we've done it again. We have not only blown past the top of the hour, we are now back at the bottom of the hour, which does mean we have reached the end of the show. If you've enjoyed the show, please tell a friend. If you haven't,
tell two.
Tell two. You can reach out to both of us over at jfrenzy.com, where we will be happy to keep the conversation going. All right, Miss Tiffany, my friend, do you have any final words for us?
Find a local band. Go watch them. Let us know how it is.
All right. On that note, folks, have a good night.
Thanks for listening to The Jay Franzi Show. Make sure you visit us at jfranzi.com. Follow, connect, and say hello. This episode has been brought to you by VR Knives, your source for 100% custom knives made by a true rock star. So, if you're in the market for a new piece of art, reach out to VR Knives. 407-421-5528. 407-421-5528.